back in October. Matt McMuscles brought my attention to this, and then when I saw it, I'm like, I need Ook to see this. So I've been sitting on it since October. This is from Hour of Poop.
Here we are.
Give it to me, Frodo.
Give you the ring. No. No. Can't be Gandalf.
That's it.
I enjoy it.
It's perfect.
It's simple. I like how he starts slow and gets fast. The face on him.
No.
Well done. Yeah. Well done. Thank you, Matt, and your poop men as well. Thank you very much.
Excellent.
Well done. I think that might be my favourite ever intro to an OSW
great. And
episode.
the music's awesome as well.
Brilliant. Excellent stuff.
Oh man, look at that intro. Overly long, expensive, entirely unnecessary. Welcome to Hobbit 3!
I thought you were going to say welcome to OSW.
No one cares about it. And hello and welcome to OSW Review, the old school wrestling video podcast. This is not that by a long shot, but what is it? It is the final part of the trilogy, Hobbit 3, there and back again, aka Battle of Five Armies. By the way, in the book, it's Battle of Five Armies. There's no the.
I'm the wizard, you're the dwarf, and you will respect my authority!
Welcome, Hobbers! Happy days are here again. Hey, V1 sir, how you doing, mate?
I am doing good. I am fucking ready to rock, to talk about this final movie in the trifecta of Hobbit World Land stuff.
Excellent. And OC, sir, how are you?
I feel thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread.
Hey! And you got a few choice quotes that we can use from the trilogy for Hobbit 3. Anyway, let's get you up to speed. Production of Hobbit 3. Hobbit 3, the third and final part of the trilogy. We've gone over this twice before with our Hobbit 1 and 2 reviews, but just a quickie reminder. Peter Jackson first started sniffing around to make a Hobbit adaptation in 1995 as part of a trilogy, with 2 and 3 being Lord of the Rings, but ended up making the Lord of the Rings trilogy for New Line Cinema, with MGM's rights to The Hobbit expiring in 2010. After the wildly successful 17 Academy Award wins and highly influential Lord of the Rings trilogy, in 2006, MGM broached New Line and Jackson to adapt The Hobbit. Originally conceived as a duology, Jackson didn't want to direct. He didn't want to compete with his prior works, so Guillermo del Toro was brought on to direct. Jackson would just produce. Del Toro had recently made Pan's Labyrinth, a dark, twisted and immensely creative fantasy film. Do you like that one?
Yes.
Yeah. Creepy.
Yeah, it's gorgeous as well.
And both were interested in Del Toro's vision of Middle-earth. Guillermo wanted 2 films that tonally and visually would morph from his vision to Peter's by the end to lead into Fellowship of the Ring. Of course, we never got it, but Del Toro's vision was structured very differently. It was 2 films, 2 separate films about the same time period but from a different point of view. Like, one film is Bilbo's entire journey from Bag End to the Lonely Mountain, and the other is Gandalf Dol Guldur and the Dwarves' story and battle. So it wouldn't be a giant movie cut in 2, but 2 separate companion films, if that makes sense. Delay. Del Toro made the painful decision to leave the project in 2010, as MGM had money woes, and despite extensive pre-production being done a year and a half, never greenlit the film. It actually sucks because only a couple of months later they would sort it out. Before Halloween that year, New Line and Warner struck a deal and announced Jackson would step in to write, direct and produce. PJ would save The Hobbit, but he couldn't just continue on the project. That year and a half of pre-production was practically canned, as was Del Toro's vision of Middle-earth, which is vastly different than the style PJ had crafted in Lord of the Rings. Jackson had 2 months of pre-production before cameras started rolling in February 2011.
We like it, but can we have a finished version now?
Shot for 266 days, exactly the same as Lord of the Rings. Right as they were finishing principal photography in June 2012, it was announced that the Hobbit duology would be split into 3, making extensive use of the Lord of the Rings appendices to support the story. Although flawed and bloated, Hobbit 1 and 2 had tent-pole scenes, A-plus scenes like Riddles in the Dark with Gollum and Smaug and Bilbo in Desolation of Smaug. Could PJ do the impossible, make it a hat trick and end on a high? Let's find out. This is The Hobbit, There and Back Again, later renamed The Battle of the Five Armies. Or in Polish, V1?
Hobbit, Bitwa Pięciu, Army.
You know so much Polish. Are you now fluent? That's unbelievable.
Tak.
What the hell is that?
Yes.
Ja mówię po polsku.
Yeah.
Bardzo dobre.
Yes.
Dimitrescu.
Costa Curta.
Film start. Ooh, relevant bit from the book.
There was once more a tremendous excitement and enthusiasm, but the grim-voiced fellow ran hot-foot to the master. "The dragon is coming, or I am a fool," he cried. "Cut the bridges! To arms! To arms!"
So we are starting off where really the end of the last film is. Smaug is coming to a wreck shop on those tub trading lakesmen. Stephen Fry and his scurrilous lackey try to escape on a boat with all his riches. And where is Da?
Da.
He's probably in Derry by the sounds of it. Bard, the son of a disgraced bowman, is in prison, but seeing Fry's boat, uses his chance to escape by hanging Stephen Fry and using his brittle neck to pulley the wall away.
I'm not buying this. There's no way that boat is going fast enough to pull the bars out of that wall.
We are straight into the climax of a movie at the start of this movie. Bard hurries across rooftops and burning buildings to the bell tower, the highest and therefore best vantage point in town. First shot. Ping off the scales. Second shot. Ping off the scales. And Smaug rips the top of the bell tower off. Bard's son finds him to give him a special arrow, the black arrow, but dang, his bow is broken. Benedict Cumberbatch gets his voice credit.
Now that is a pity. What will you do now, bowman?
What will you do now, bowman?
Pretty shit your pants. Bard fashions a bow using his son's shoulder to steady the arrow. I was like, if you released that, would you not take a chunk of his neck with you?
Like, is the flight on that bow, like, is that also made out of metal?
No,
like,
it was
is that
feathers.
like some kind of like wire brush at the end?
That would
you
just
know?
be cruel. No,
Kinda
no,
like
it was
chimney
feathers.
sweep of a bow.
Oh my god. That'll tear his neck.
Yeah.
By the way, that was cool, and I thought Luke Evans played his part brilliantly.
Could I just, on that point, my favourite moment, recalling to when I was a kid reading The Hobbit, my favourite moment was when Bard killed the dragon. I mean, it is kind of the climax of the book. But I seem to remember that he just had a bow and arrow. I think he had a special black arrow.
Yeah.
But it was a regular bow and arrow, and I thought that was a hell of a lot cooler. That he was just a guy with a bow and arrow and he killed the dragon. And by the way, Luke Evans kept getting hit with that bell. It was shown in the behind the scenes.
It's like, how loud must that be? I'm trying to work. So he does cut the rope that is causing it to ring, so I did like that. Bard sees the dragon's weak spot, fires his last shot. Direct hit! Death blow to Smaug. Bard has slain the dragon! And it lands right on the master, Stephen Fry. Ouch.
only counts as one.
Did you enjoy the death of Smaug? I personally thought it looked awesome, how the light went out of his eye and he was kind of clawing for air almost, and they did reference it in the behind the scenes. Then when he's falling, the light goes out of his belly as well. I just thought that image was really cool.
Also cool. The light going out of the eye, I was like, oh, you Terminator won it, mate. Good
Thumbs up
job.
again, yeah.
Good job. He shot. Oh, he could have been falling into the water where there was like oil burning on top, and his little wing could have been going, oh, Peter, mate.
Peter just killed the film. Killed the franchise right there. Yeah, really, really like this. Lots of fun. My main problem is it has the kind of end of the movie emotional catharsis, which is highly out of place at the start of a movie. But it is the impetus of the whole plot of the third film. With Smaug gone, his mountain and his riches are seemingly up for grabs, and multiple factions set off to claim their prize. Who's got the strongest claim? Well, the lads who are already held up in there. The dwarves reunite. Note Jimmy Nesbitt. He waits to be hugged like a prick. Bilbo tells Nesbitt and co. that Thorin's been surrounded by the cursed gold for days. He doesn't sleep. He doesn't eat. He's not been himself. Not at all. And then Thorin mumbles to himself.
Gold beyond measure, beyond sorrow and grief. Behold, the great treasure hoard of Thror.
The company worry Thorin's been consumed with greed, something called dragon sickness, a fierce and jealous love, which also sent his grandfather mad. Thorin wants the most valuable jewel, the Arkenstone, to fully crown him as king of the mountain. King under the mountain. king of the mountain.
Okay, this movie's actually now better.
Worriedly, Bilbo remembers what Smaug taunted him with during the previous film.
I am almost tempted to let you take it, if only to see Oakenshield suffer. Watch it destroy him. Watch it corrupt his heart and drive him mad.
Yeah. Will it? Find out in a bit.
Yes.
Happy with this? This is the storyline?
I felt that his madness is kind of forced on you,
Yeah.
you know? It didn't feel errant. It was just like, yeah, someone flicked the switch and now you're mad.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what I couldn't articulate. That's it, Steve. He was moany and whingy, but then Smaug dies and now all of a sudden he goes a bit Lula.
Come here.
Duh! 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 Duh!
Daw. Sorry, daw. Daw.
Thanks Ron Weasley here. Post-fight, we have a family reunion. Oh my god, I'm gonna shut up shouting daw. It's like an Owen Hart promo, but he only has one line and not three. And he just hammer it.
I'm gonna daw the daw out of your daw.
Da. 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 Is that you, Da? Da. Da.
Others will now look to the mountain.
Oh my god. Dodgy, youthening CGI Legolas.
You're not happy?
Oh, it's the key. Wildly cretinous. He looks... Do you remember in Fellowship where Frodo is changing in front of Bilbo and he shows him the ring that he's wearing and he immediately goes... That's Legolas.
But if you see him in the behind the scenes, Orlando Bloom, to me anyway, looks exactly the same as he did 10 years previous.
And they made him look worse with whatever kind of post touch-ups that they did.
I honestly was okay with it. I did like, he had very silvery eyes. I thought that was pretty cool.
His face looked enhanced,
Yeah.
Put on a filter. Anyway, Legolas fills in Bard and us that there is a battle coming. Well, that's good, given the name of the film. With Smaug dispatched, others will look to the mountain for its riches and its strategic position in war. This is like the gateway to the rest of Middle-earth. Legolas has spotted one of the 5 armies as orcs from Gundabad, their sigil or their sign or whatever, far north of the Misty Mountains. We should go and check it out. And yep, that's Gundabad, all right, and waste everyone's time.
You mean Legolas and
Toriel,
Toriel going to check it out?
And they
we were right. Yeah. So you think it would have been better? Let's just assume they're coming and get on with it.
Because, like, if you went outside and you saw a van with, like, KP Plumbing outside, you'd say, oh, that's KP Plumbing.
Yeah.
You wouldn't go, across town to KP Plumbing headquarters.
And ask if there's a van there.
Yeah. And you see there's a van missing. Oh, it must be him.
There's a van missing.
Do you know what I mean?
There's a van-shaped emptiness in the fucking
like,
parking lot.
When it's raining and a car is there, covering the ground. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, OC, what are the 5 armies?
Yeah, this is a point I wanted to raise, and I believe, if memory serves, it's different from the book, but in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, the elves.
Yes.
I'm very happy with that situation. Then we've got 2 orc armies, and I'm
Very
less
good.
happy about that situation. I'd rather if it was just 1 orc army, but okay, we got 2. Then Dane's army.
Could you say Dine's army?
Is it? I thought it was Dane.
The film gets it wrong. They mispronounce Tolkien. Because D-A-F-O-D-I-N in Tolkien is with an I.
Yeah.
So it's Dine.
Dine's army.
Yeah.
Thorin's cousin's army, but it's a ragtag bunch. And then the 5th one drives me bananas. The men or the people army.
Bards, farmers.
It's villagers.
Yeah.
It's fucking villagers. That's not a fucking army.
That's weird because so the way that I took it was Dwarven army, Elven army, man, Orc army, and
okay, I get you.
end.
Okay, fair enough.
They are formidable.
Yeah.
You had to be conscious of this factor in the movie and count them yourself. Yeah, it wasn't laid out for you.
Yeah.
Imagine Battle of some armies.
Bosa.
You are not alone, Mithrandir.
What happened to Gandalf? Last we left him, he was in Dol Guldur. He got Pearl Harbored from above, from Thrain, Thorin's Da, who went mad.
Da.
Pearl Harbored from the side by Azog, and Pearl Harbored from the front by the Necromancer, a precursor to Sauron, who imprisons him so Gandalf helplessly watches the orcs march out of Dol Guldur. What's he up to now? Force chatting with Radagast, which is broken up by a nasty orc and a nastier chokeslam onto concrete.
The first wrestling move in this movie.
Yes, big Darby Allin bump from Gandalf, or his stunt double. The chokeslamming orc, the torturer of Dol Guldur, is Mark Conan Stevens, aka the original Gregor Clegane.
Ooh, okay. Okay, like season 1 Mountain.
Very good, before he was like a name, Oh, Conan Stevens here, 7 Foot Thunder in the IWA, International Wrestling Australia. And the Australian bras, tell us about him. Who will save Gandalf from 7 Foot Thunder? Lady Galadriel, sauntering quietly. It's like, get a move on, love. I'm about to be D-handed.
I come for Mithrandir, and I will leave with him.
Very good.
Yeah, got to get that right.
Question for you, Steve. So is Mithrandir, is that like an elven name for Gandalf?
You've fallen into the trap.
It is,
I hope you'd set. Galadriel calls Gandalf Mithrandir. Steve, all of Gandalf's names.
Okay. Many are my names in many countries, said Gandalf. So, we got Gandalf.
In the common tongue, in the north.
In Canis.
In the south.
Yes, to the east I go not. In the west, that is forgotten.
Mithrandir.
Grey Wanderer.
In Sindarin, or Elvish.
Oloran.
Dreamseer.
In Kenya, which is a different Elvish.
I was going to say, which is a different Kenya.
Hey!
Ithran.
Wizard.
Thaumaturgus.
Miracle Worker.
And finally, Lanthir.
Grim Pilgrim.
Yes, grim as in representing his weighty responsibilities. And just for completion, Gandalf's horse is...
Shadowfax.
His sword.
Glamdring.
And his elven ring?
Narya.
Yes! Excellent, you
There we
fucking
go.
nerd.
3 for 3. Yeah, nobody can disprove it.
By the way, Shadowfax is a fucking fabulous name.
It is.
Obviously, we're not taking into consideration calling him the Grey Wizard or Wandering Wizard or Scroungy Beggar or Black Lung I'm a survivor, Black Lung. Living and dying, that's all that there is to life. Black Lung. Mika from Red Dead 2.
We all need to have a little chat. Black Lung, you're back. Hooray.
Galadriel isn't fighting off not just against the new orc, it's also against the 9 mortal men doomed to die. Oh, cool, ring raids. 10-on-1 isn't particularly sporting PvP, so we get a hot tag from Elrond, who draws his sword. Shing! And Saruman!
Are you in need of assistance, my lady?
Obviously, this is complete fabrication of film, but what did you think of the fight scene?
I really enjoyed it. So, Christopher Lee is 90. Now, I'm not saying he's obviously not doing the moves, but being able to walk well is a pretty great achievement, you know, and he's compos mentis. Yeah, he's fantastic. It feels like a dream sequence. It should be a dream sequence. You know, say Gandalf's dream sequence. That's what you would almost imagine it would be, because it's completely silly. But it looks awesome. Fight scene is pretty cool. Doesn't go on too long. And yeah, we get to see Elrond kicking ass. I think that's great.
Elrond making his way from Riverdale.
Yeah, this fight scene. By fight scene, I mean strategically place the camera to hide the stunt doubles. Like, so it's all like top down. It turns isometric almost.
It was a very cool scene. Like, you know, as someone who's not the biggest, you know, like this series doesn't do much for me, but I was watching this going like, this is tonally different to the rest of The Hobbit, and this is cool.
Oh, good. And I was like, 3-player co-op, not unlike Elden Ring Night Rain.
Hey!
Of course, the jobbers don't win, so the necromancer, Proto-Sauron, comes out to taunt the goodies, saying the kingdom of Angmar will rise, the age of the orc has come. To which Kate Blanchett,
yeah, scares him off. Shoos him away. She sends him packing.
She turns into the Grudge.
Oh, I was going with the Ring.
Ring? Yes.
Yeah, the Grudge.
Oh my God. To bark them away.
You don't like it. But I mean, it's a callback to when she briefly turned heel in Fellowship when Frodo showed her the ring.
Like, that was more of a dream sequence. Like, it was a vision of how powerful and corrupting the One Ring would be, even for someone as beautiful and chaste and as good as Galadriel. Like, it's not an actual power, but she uses it as a power to ward off Sauron. And then Sauron is like, leave Sauron to me. And I thought it was quite actually good foreshadowing here.
I love the foreshadowing, because obviously at this point Sauron is white meat baby face, goes away, has a little chat, and is completely corrupted by Sauron.
Really? Hold on. So at this point in the story, we're meant to believe that he is good.
He is.
Yeah.
And not that it's wink,
No.
leave it to me, and then he actually just accidentally leaves the back door open. Like,
No.
Oh,
He's
okay.
supposed
Okay,
to
so
be
I took
good.
that scene up wrong. Okay.
Yeah.
They're just trying to tie it into Lord of the Rings, foreshadowing him having turned heel. But he doesn't get corrupted until later.
Okay.
He chats to him on long distance via Palantir.
They do force a bit of Lord of the Rings lore into the movie a couple of times in this movie, but I thought this one worked.
Go now. Leave Sauron to me.
Back inside the mountain, Thorin is furious they haven't found the Arkenstone, the crown jewel for the king under the mountain. But it's revealed to us that Bilbo has found it and is keeping it secret. Martin Freeman does a good job at looking at hiding being guilty. Like, he kind of looks straight forward when Thorin's talking to him and kind of looks down, doesn't meet his gaze. Bilbo asks trusted confidant Balin if it were found, would it help? And he says, no, it wouldn't stay his madness. I fear it would make him worse. Perhaps it is best it remains lost.
Yeah, so obviously at this point Balin knew that Bilbo had the Arkenstone, but I don't understand his point about it would make him worse. How can you get worse than he already is?
It doesn't make any sense.
He's not going to get worse.
Yeah.
One point about Bilbo at this point, it irked me in the book and it irks me in the movies. How do you not feel terrible about the destruction of a town that you caused and the death of potentially hundreds of people that you caused?
Did you not see them on the mountain in the open, looking on and gurning? They clearly feel a little bit bad.
Point of interest.
Go on.
Lake Town's a shithole.
Okay. So all good then.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Listen, we've got our home.
Yeah.
Our home was lost.
Right.
It cancels each other out.
Oh, it's the net effect of zero
Yes.
situation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Shit, Dale is fucked as well, isn't it?
Well, it was always fucked.
Oh, great. There you go.
Yeah.
It was. See, you can't burn ashes.
Okay, so you're good with it. To me, it's
I get you. Yeah.
The chimp has been chopped.
Growing more desperate, Thorin demands to see what's in Bilbo's hand. It's not the Arkenstone, that's probably resting against his junk, but an acorn to plant back at the Shire. This lack of greed amuses and disarms Thorin.
It's a poor prize to take back to the Shire.
One day it'll grow. And every time I look at it, I'll remember. Remember everything that happened, the good, the bad. And how lucky I am that I made it home.
Speaking of, the refugees from Lake Town reach the foot of the mountain. In the morning, they'll meet with Thorin. What news from the Night Watch? Not much gets past me, except this gigantic army of elves.
That was funny. that was funny. I'll give it that.
Solid reveal. And Thranduil and his moose giant antlers knocking into the coves. I love elven armour. It's very distinctive. It's like a gold leaf with its silhouette. You know, I love the cut of it. With the volume of soldiers and spending time gawking at them, it really kind of sets you up for war. So I thought it was great.
I couldn't agree more. I love the elven armies in general. How regimented they are, disciplined, how in sync they are.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Bye, and what was the other one? It's Gonna Be Me. They are in sync levels of being in sync. And I love when Thranduil, he's walking through the middle of them, or on the elk through the middle, they're all just turning in unison and then coming back together. Fantastic visual. Sorry,
it's very cool. Yeah, no, you're right, because like in kayfabe, they're awesome because like they come and they look powerful and they look like they're going to kick ass, but they also just look good on a screen too.
Yes.
Thranduil is there to reclaim the elvish family jewels, heirlooms that were stolen, and Bard simply wants Thorin to make good on the bargain they previously agreed on. Thorin greedily denies both, saying, I know an elf lord who will pay a pretty price for these elvish jewels, and I'm not keeping up with any deals we made when we were desperate and had no other choice. So that's that then. We're going to war.
He's so unlikable in all three movies.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could you ever get behind this guy? Even if he face turns, it's like, well, you've still been 98% dick for the last 12 hours.
Steve, that's the point I have. That sums up the entire trilogy. You've just done it.
What a dick.
Forget it. Forget it now. Yeah.
When they're getting suited and booted, Thorin won't be dissuaded, but does have a nicety for his mate Bilbo, bequeathing him a mithril vest, which no blade can pierce, unless you get stabbed in the forearm or your head gets chopped off.
or merely crushed.
Yeah.
Burned. Impaled. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking of ways this fails.
The mithril vest doesn't come into play at all in this film, but it would in Fellowship.
You! Pointy at! We don't want no tramps, beggars, nor vagabonds round here.
Gandalf arrives at the elf/human armies camp, but he's mistaken for a beggar and tried to be shooed off by Alfred. Not unlike Blackadder when it's his wedding day with Bob and Bob's dad is there. Blackadder's just like, sorry, would you move along, please? Look, I don't want any scruffy beggars holding up the door trying to get married. But I am your father-in-law.
I am your father-in-law. Oh, no.
It was at this point with Alfred that I started thinking to myself, why has he got an important job? He's working for basically the leader of Lake Town now, Bard, when he's proven himself nothing but untrustworthy and a villain, essentially. And yet he has all this responsibility. You go over there, you find him a bed, you help with this. I mean, at one stage they wanted to kill him, therefore they're not going to respect him, but yet Bard gives him a position of authority. I don't get it.
And he keeps betraying it at every turn.
Exactly. It's like Bard is the Sting of the Hobbit trilogy.
Yes.
Yep. He's just like comedy relief. You know, we've never had a character quite like Alfred. May have gone too far in a few places.
It's like poetry.
They were right. Alfred is the key to all of this.
Because he's a funnier character than we've ever had in any of the movies before.
Mithrandir tries in vain to get them to see the big picture. Orc armies are about to arrive. Set aside your petty grievances with the dwarves. War is coming. But they're given a kicker. Bilbo sneaks out from the dwarven stronghold and gives the Arkenstone to them, reasoning it's his 1/14th share of the wealth to do as he likes. He wishes to avoid war and the death of his friends, so this bargaining chip should do it. Trade the Arkenstone for your fair share and your family jewels.
You would steal from me. Steal from you? No. I may be a burglar, but I like to think I'm an honest one.
It's incredible how Bilbo could climb back into the dwarven stronghold with those big brass balls of his as he comes clean to Thorin. I took it. I was going to give it to you many times, but you've changed. The dwarf I met back in Bag End would never have gone back on his word. Thorin considers the impudence and the reasoning and demands Bilbo be thrown from the ramparts. But his company refuses. They tussle and Bilbo manages to escape. Thranduil prods the bear, saying,
Keep the stone, sell it. Ecdelion of Gondor will give you a good price for it.
That's Denethor's dad. The guy with the
tomato.
Tomato.
The cherry tomato. Oh yeah, there's the one and only laugh out loud moment in any of the behind the scenes from any of the movies was this point where Thranduil's on his elk, because when he's filming in front of the green screen, obviously it's not a real elk. He's sitting on a horse.
Oh, did they just paint it?
And they...
It's cats.
This is just tape a bunch of cats together. Right? Sorry, yes.
And they obviously CGI on the antlers. But anyway, every time he tried to say his line, the horse kept turning around. It was actually very funny.
So he give a serious speech,
yes,
and the horse
is he's backwards now. Yeah.
If they could get the other horse to go as well, if they could, a little. Anyway,
We've come to tell you, payment of your debt to the men has been offered and accepted.
Right as the army are about to advance on Thorin, can you give us a horn, Stephen? IronFoot! The Dwarf Lord army have come, led by Thorin's cousin, Dain, Lord of the Iron Hills. And he is a lot more combative, but has a Scottish sing-song melody, which undercuts the seriousness of his threat.
I have a wee proposition, if you wouldn't mind giving me a few moments of your time. Would you consider just sodding off?
Can you give us a Scottish "Tell this rabble to leave, or I'll water the ground with their blood"?
Scottish.
No, you got it. It's going to turn Northern Irish.
Yeah,
before the end, isn't
it absolutely is. Scottish. Tell those Robble to leave. Or, now see, Northern Irish. Okay, you know what? Okay, now Billy Connolly is now from fucking Belfast. Okay,
yeah.
Tell those Robble to leave, or else I'll tell them with their blood. You fucking bollocks.
You Fenian bastard.
You Fenian bastard.
Who are Fenians? Can we slag them? Is that allowed?
We are.
Are we Fenians?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The elf army decide to swing their dick by shooting a barrage of arrows at the dwarves, but Dain swings his dick by countering with Wellebeth.
Baby.
Really clever.
It's a cool image.
That was super awesome looking. That was really cool.
But here's the thing here, right? Azog, why don't you let either the dwarves or the elves kill each other and then jump in and sweep up?
Yeah, very noble.
Same point.
Yeah.
The battle of two armies, the elves versus dwarves, is quickly halted by the appearance of werewolves, who tremors their way burrowing into the mountain, heralding the orc army, never to be seen again. I was like, the orcs really could have used those in this battle or in any of the Lord of the Rings battles, you could just burrow underneath the opposing army. Voomf.
Yep.
That's that.
Absolutely.
Do you know?
I feel like giant worms are both overused and underused.
It's an achievement.
In media in general.
So they're used, you mean like they're shown that they exist, but they never come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
They use giant worms in Gears of War and they sink an entire city.
Yeah, of Jacinta.
Jacinta, come in for your dinner.
Is there a character called Jacinta?
No, the city of Jacinta.
You're kidding me.
It's outside Tala, I think.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And like then there's the giant worms in Beetlejuice, which are cool, but they're not really used that much.
But they were terrifying as a kid.
And they're only going at 12 frames a second. We'll be fine.
And then of course there's the giant worms in Dune.
Dune.
Yeah. Then there's giant worms in
Empire Strikes Back.
Tremors.
Tremors, yeah.
The Sarlacc, is it?
No, it's the one where the Millennium Falcon lands in it.
Oh, yeah, the sock puppet. That.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Terrible. Space worms.
So
something that you get in the Star Wars cantina.
So like there are gimmicks that are used in loads of movies and TV shows, but they're never properly used.
Yeah.
But then the reason they're not properly used, as you point out, they could just end everything instantly.
Yeah.
They can't.
Also, probably hard to train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, in Tolkien's world, were just means like a stronger version of, and wereworms were more like limbless dragons. But they just look like the Tremors worms, you know. Question, better or worse? How do you feel about evil bats as part of your army?
Yeah.
It's a bit lame, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not. They don't really do it for me.
Like, you're not embarrassed using bats, like
embarrassed.
Yeah, and annoy your enemy to death. They peck at you, you know. Shame on you.
I think they're overpowered.
Because they can flee.
Yeah, because they come down, you can't see shit. They can block out the sky and peck away. That no way. It's like people.
And they don't feel shame.
And they don't really. And people complained about the ghost pirates in Return of the King. They are obviously overpowered, but like bats equally so.
Okay.
How many fucking games need to have bats? Like seriously, I know it's Dracula, but why do so many games have so many fucking bats?
In a pretty cool moment, elves and dwarves team up against the baddies. Elven army vault over the dwarf phalanx, which is just an awesome sight of two armies working together. Just enjoy the visual. Don't think about how it just fucked the phalanx, taking it out of the battle, and screwed the elves, who cannot fall back now. Maybe they'll just backflip over the phalanx again. Because phalanx is bloody good, man. But I tell you, the cardio on these orcs. When we first see them, they're running in Gundabad. And then now at the Iron Mountain, they're running to the Iron Mountain. I looked it up. They have been running for approximately 300 miles as the crow flies.
Wow.
Oh. And I believe that they were running the entire time.
Just that's it.
It doesn't look like they do anything else.
300 miles as the bat flies, Jay.
But that's what I was thinking when they left Gundabad. I was like, well, slow down, lads. I mean, you've got a long journey.
They'll be there
ahead
by
of you.
fucking Christmas.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah. They get there like, run! It's just bones on the battlefield. Dust.
Everyone's been dead for 50 years. Like, shit. So here we are, 1 hour 20 into the film. When the giant CG battle starts, the arse falls out of this film. Interest plummets. Because it's not about the characters anymore. It's about quick shots of action with no tangible storyline progression. Isolated vignettes that could be placed anywhere that doesn't make a difference. You know, I was enjoying Heel Thorin refuse to budge a smeg an inch I enjoyed Thranduil not accepting it, and I enjoyed the goodies trying to avoid war. But we're done with the story. It's now spectacle. And the spectacle is really bad.
This is the major issue with turning a movie into 3 movies, is that your third movie is your third act. And an act is not a movie, Peter. It's just an act. But it's a 3-hour act, you know?
So we have a war of 5 armies who really don't have a lot to do with each other. There's been very little up to this point to lead us here to a battle amongst 5 armies. I understand Thorin has history with Azog, but that's about it.
Well, that's not till 40 minutes later.
Oh, and yeah, he's hiding away at this present moment. So we've got 5 armies who really don't have a lot against each other, and they're going to war, and I don't care. I like Thranduil, I like Bard, but that's it. Everyone else is all the same.
Potential hot take for you. You know, sometimes we don't have opinions, we have takes, apparently.
Yeah.
Whether or not a battle is good or bad or not is already decided before the battle starts.
100% agree.
It's like a big wrestling match.
Like, it doesn't matter how many Mexican day laborers from 97 you can throw in. It doesn't matter how well you book them. You have to care beforehand.
Yeah.
And that's what Helm's Deep or...
Pelennor feels.
Yes. You already care about the characters and the stakes are set, but they also zoom in and check in with all the characters and how they're doing, and they have their little quips. And it's like, oh, that's 5, that's 6, that's... you know, they scale the massive fight down to a few people that you really care about. And so it's not just, we have 7 different types of orc that you haven't seen before. There's one orc who is blind and doesn't have any limbs. There's no arms or legs. He's a pillow. You know? And I commend the orc army for their disability employment preferences. Well done to you, sir.
Turns out Azog is actually a babyface. He's hiring everybody. You wouldn't see fucking Thorin hiring someone a blonde and a blonde.
Yeah, he doesn't like elves. Yeah. There's another orc that just like rams its head into the wall. And
that might be my favorite part.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
It's the E Honda Juggernaut orc, and he sparks himself out.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I loved it.
And he's got like just a right angular brick on his head.
Yeah.
I think it's... But again, it's just CGI crap. And we'll throw everything at it, and you might like a couple, like we enjoyed that bit, for example, or Jay enjoyed his DEI box ticking exercise with the blind orc. But yeah, it's all CGI crap.
There are times in this kind of battle scene where I was laughing, and I was just like, the orcs are actually Flintstones, because they come up with really cool ways to demake, you know, like diggers and excavators, and they've got an animal doing the job of what we would normally see some big hulking beastly thing do, you know?
You want to see Azog in the Fred Flintstone character.
No shoes.
No shoes.
Yeah.
You know, it's a living. Yeah.
It's a living.
Okay, so the fight is an hour long. Here's things that happened during the Battle of 5 Armies and tell me what you think. Bomber gets a dropkick backsplash combo.
Yes, loved it.
Beautiful.
I know there's some wrestler who does that, and for the life of me, I can't think of who it is, but I will find it.
Oh, bit of splicey?
Yeah.
Dodo down at the canvas and he goes, oh, what a shot!
Bard saves his family via cart jump.
He said
not undersell this scene.
He told them when he was going along on the cart, and by the way, he was way too far away. They're dead now, by the way.
He just trampled them, did he?
No, I mean... No, the orc long killed them before he was even aware of Bard. But yeah, as you point out, Jay, he said get down. He didn't say get down, stay in the middle. See these wheels? You got to get between them, or you're going to die. No, very lucky.
Yeah.
Shore up. Make safe. Yes.
Thorin succumbs to the dragon madness, hiding inside the mountain. Thorin is being read the riot act for not aiding dwarf Lord Dain, who is surrounded.
Life is cheap, but a treasure such as this cannot be counted in lives lost. It is worth all the blood we can spend. So he threatens to kill Dwalin, and I believe that Dwalin is a loyal servant and would let him kill him. But no, if it was a straight up fight, Dwalin's beating the shit out of you.
Beat the shit out of him. Yeah, absolutely.
Richard Armitage, he's not winning that
No.
fight.
I love that. This is the moment where he has to think about what he's doing, you know, and he's at this like golden pool and he's like, no, you know, that meme picture with the guy at the beach where he's acting sad and he's got the like hand of sand and like the sand is falling through his hand and he's looking up at the fucking sky. I was like, that's basically what he's doing. He's having his dental plan, Lisa needs bracelets moment, which brings him back to the fold.
I was likening it to our lovely Gillian Anderson floating in the sinking in the bath again.
Yes.
I'm in the gold and now I'm sinking in the gold. You know, there's all of that going on.
Look at my struggles. I'm coming to terms with my issues.
Thorin throws down the crown, and he is now clear-headed, and he asks his brethren to ride into war with him.
Gonna throw down my crown. We're gonna
town.
go to town.
We are sons of Durin, and Durin's folk do not flee from a fight. Richard Armitage was waiting 2.5 films for this moment. The lads readied themselves for war, charged towards the orcs, leading his company into battle. Because battles happen to other people, Thorin and Dain stop, have a bit of a chat. Middle of the battlefield, and look at them talking there. And it's like, this highlights a huge problem with the film. It's ugly to look at, especially when you're out in the open. Like, the CG and green screen doesn't mesh together. Like, it's presented, graded, and composited so badly. Like, the whole thing looks fake. Yeah. I assume Billy Connolly went to New Zealand.
He didn't need to, though, did he?
Because it doesn't look like he did.
No.
Yeah.
It's like they paid for his face to be digitally made. Do you know what I mean?
It was a horrible Princess Leia in Rogue One kind of face.
Yeah. Well, even if you didn't care about the characters, it has to look nice for you to enjoy it. Do you know? The underlying positive of Peter Jackson's Tolkien films is showing the breathtaking natural beauty of the world. And this battle has successfully suffocated it. Anyway, Thorin's plan is to take out Azog, the head of the orc army. How will you get to him? By using this ram-powered chariot with an arrow machine gun crank type shooter. Fair enough, it's actually pretty cool.
Do you reckon Azog, who was handily winning this battle, shat himself when 12 lads ran out of the cave? He was like, that's it, I'm done now. Yeah.
One of them riding on a pig.
Commander Gaius, he kind of wasn't he dying?
Oh, yeah. Flashbacks.
Well done, you. Just one point that I wanted to make for mainly Thranduil, but in general all the elves. They're fighting with curved swords mainly, maybe straight swords, but it's all slash damage. You're fighting against enemies with armor, you need strike or pierce.
There we go.
Somebody should have fucking told them.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I have a very important question to ask you. What Elden Ring weapons would have helped end Battle of Five Armies real quick?
Okay.
If you were going into
There's
battle.
only one, right?
Fuck off. You're not used to blasphemous blade, Steve. You're not used to it.
Whoosh. The sacred relic.
But in terms of just the sacred relic sword, Wave of Gold.
Oh, you do? Oh, you wouldn't even need the mountain and Smaug's gold if you just used.
You just take out the entire army with like one fucking blue bar. You know, you just do like 4 times and the entire orc army's gone.
The Wave of Gold itself probably goes for about 80 meters or something. So yeah, you're going to be doing well.
Any other weapons?
In terms of the orcs, it's got to be pest thread spears.
Oh yeah, because they're quite thick, aren't they?
Big targets.
Yeah. Like if I was on the field,
go on.
I would be there in my full like dancer's makeup, going la 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 la. And then I get out my perfume bottles, look to the ground,
rolling patch. That got patched, Jay.
Pre-nerf. All right, I'll break out my impenetrable thorns. I'll get up right beside them.
Pre-nerf.
Look down.
Yeah, pre-nerf again. Yeah.
Fine. All right, I'm gonna break out my Envoy's Longhorn.
That also got nerfed.
I'd be useless then. I go to them. I've got the disc version. I pulled out my modem. I'm not updating. Fight part 2. So let's leave the battlefield so the main cast can get a mini boss fight. Serene McKellen's stunt double fights random swinging orc.
Fucking Radagast staff that didn't work properly in a unnecessary comedy. This is supposed to be a battle of, life and death, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, I don't like Gandalf having comedy. Like he can be clever and witty, and you can get your laugh that way, but not jester.
I feel like the
clumsy
comedy,
Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Stuff. Like the comedy is why you have Buffer and Bomber, right?
Yeah.
No one else really needs to be doing it.
And so how does Alfred end?
He is hiding with the women and children, dressed as a woman. And he ends up saving Gandalf by one of his gold pieces that he robs, falls onto the trebuchet button and fires him into the mouth of a waiting orc. And he gets the chimpy chomp. Awful.
OC, what's the name of this film?
The Battle of the Five Armies.
And the overarching name of
The Hobbit.
Yes. And so what is the Hobbit doing? Bilbo is KO'd and conveniently out until after the battle.
That'll do. They got nothing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he puts on the ring, runs away, takes it off, gets smacked, and is just left for dead, and that's fine. Azog captures Feely. Damn, I was going to ask which one he's... bollocks. There's no way. You don't know who it is. And he ices him. Killy, sexy dwarf, rushes to avenge him, and Toriel immediately follows because he's useless, and so she's right to do so, but is powerless to stop Bolg impaling and killing him too.
To be fair to him, he was kicking ass until she goes, Killy! And then he turns around, he gets distracted, and then he gets killed.
And it's like,
he was doing deadly.
It's like all the finishes in AEW. You can only be beaten by distraction.
Yeah, no one's allowed to go over clean.
At this point in the movie, how are you feeling? Like emotionally?
Get it done, lads. Get it over with.
I am emotionally ready for it to move on. Yeah. Question, it's weird. So during the battle scenes, Jackson has no problem showing gratuitous orc violence, decapitations, heads exploding, things being ripped apart. But when it comes to the death of any of the main characters, big cutaway, zero blood, nothing shown. I feel that's a weird choice. It kind of takes away from the weight of one of your main characters dying.
I think he did it so it's easily excisable, the bloody bits, to lower the rating of the film.
Okay.
So we're going to add it in and, we got a 12 A's now. Yeah, I completely agree.
So he got the old dragon sickness in the search for more wealth. Yeah. It sucked.
So Bolg and Toriel plummet and separate, prompting Legolas. He wants to fight Bolg. So he sees the DEI orc, and Legolas finds a way to ratatouille him, making him knock over a tower and create a cool Mortal Kombat 2 fight stage.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I was thinking Legolas, like at this point, Orlando Bloom is 35, and the way he's walking towards him, he's quite windy.
Yeah.
I thought the fight scene itself was quite naff, but made 10 times better by YouTube channel Immersion VFX, giving Legolas a lightsaber.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Boo!
You don't like it, Steve. You're not having it.
Nope. Not having it.
Not having any of it.
No. It's
what
stupid.
about the Hurricane Rana at the end here?
Jumping off the
So, sorry, just on the clambering up the rocks as they're falling, you're not buying it.
I mean, in kayfabe, I understand that he's elven and they're kind of, fleet of foot and almost magical. It just looked shit.
The CGI.
That's what takes me out of it.
Okay.
If it was done better, I think I'd be fine with it.
Yeah, I think I'm on board with what you just said. Yeah.
There is kayfabe precedence because when the Fellowship are on a mountainside, his steps are so light, Legolas walks on the snow where everyone else trudges through it.
That's kind of cool gimmick.
Yeah.
I actually like the way he kills him.
It's Ganondorf from Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Link plunges his sword down through Ganon's head.
Okay.
Very cool.
On the battlefield, all seems lost, but the Eagles save the day. Oh! Bjorn air dive was awesome. He just airdrops into the fight, starts wrecking shop. Thanks for spending a TNA impact 8 seconds of it. It's like, oh, you enjoyed that, did you? Better cut away. And that's it for the battle, by the way. That was the last shot. Because it's time for your main event. It's your main event. Thorin Oakenshield versus Azog. Thorin, son of Thrain, the briefly king under the mountain, versus Azog the Defiler, commander and chieftain of the Moria Orcs. Azog's weapon of choice is swinging a mace made out of stone. Thorin dodges the wild swings and creates a wee iceberg under him. Then kayfabe shatters the weight of the boulder by playing catch with him, sending Azog to his watery doom. So the Orc Lord slips under the ice, kind of has his eyes open, closes his eyes, and Thorin's like, I'll just put down my controller and wait for this cutscene to start. And then he gets stabbed in the butt.
Who's that jumping out the ice?
Preposterous velocity here. A colossal velocity. And Azog tries to just push his sword into Thorin and does. And I was like, it's a shame you gave Bilbo that mithril vest, isn't it?
Could have come in handy right about now.
Bilbo! You know? That's a death blow, but Thorin picks up the win just in time to have a heart-to-heart with Bilbo.
You did what only a true friend would do.
I am glad to have shared in your perils, Thorin, each and every one of them.
If more people valued all above gold, this world would be a merry place.
Question, would the One Ring help Thorin? Because Bilbo has it. No, it just turned him invisible.
It's not good for the funeral, really, is it?
I was thinking of the ambulance.
Just drive over.
He was actually fine.
The sounds.
They just load him into the back of the ambulance, drive, and then smacks
in
into
a tree.
He goes off in gurney and falls down the mountain. But an elf ring would help, though. There for healing and preservation. And I was like, well, where's Evangeline Lilly and Legolas? Too busy brooding over sexy dwarf. And
Gandalf also has an elven
ring. He had a ring.
Yeah.
There's a young ranger amongst them. You should meet him.
Thranduil, Legolas, how do you want to leave it? Should we just nod to Lord of the Rings?
I did love the nod to Lord of the Rings, yet when Thranduil tells Legolas to go and search out a strapping young lad called Strider. I marked out for that because, that's cool.
He is known in the wild as Strider.
If this is love, I do not want it.
Toriel. Oh, I'm so sad about sexy dwarf. What's his last name? Come on, out with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thranduil.
Touchy-feely.
Brilliant. Thranduil offers condolences by somehow now validating Toriel's love for sexy dwarf.
Why does it hurt so much?
Because it was real. What do you know of love? Nothing. What you feel for that dwarf is not real.
I was having none of that. It's like, I think they said this movie, like this journey was like, what, 13 months in kayfabe? But they didn't meet each other until like halfway through the second movie, right? So
6 months.
No, because it was just before they got to Lake Town, and from when they got to Lake Town until this battle is only like 2 fucking days. I doubt he even shagged her yet.
He didn't prick her with a sword.
Exactly.
But I would suspect that what they're going for, as stupid as it is, was they had a connection when he was dying and she saved him.
It rhymes with connection, is what he had. He had a raging connection.
We gotta give something to the 6%.
Yeah, 6% women. Did you like? Well, actually, no. Hobbit has a higher percentage women watching.
11.5,
yeah,
baby.
Right.
There we go. So 11.5 percenters. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I want to hear from all.
Yeah.
What? I mean, whoever is going to be 11.
11.5 ladies who watch.
There's half an hour left of the movie. Thorin has died, but narratively, it's for the best. Like, he gets to be buried with the Arkenstone, his coveted gift. How awkward would it be for him to meet Bard and Thranduil after icing him out over a few quid? He's like, sorry about that. The sickness. It was the dragon, you know.
I liked, and it was really convenient that they killed off Philly and Killy, the other 2 potential heirs. So if those 2 were still alive, I don't know, I assume Philly was the older brother, I don't know, would have been a bit of a shit king, Killy would have been a bit of a shit king. So it was convenient that they were killed off.
Paving the way for Dine. He's the new king of the mountain. Bilbo tries to do an Irish goodbye, slip away quietly instead of saying your goodbyes, which is indeed a necessity.
I will have you know that in my mind, in Irish goodbye is when you're saying bye to someone and you're like bye, 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 and it just goes on for ages.
Could you explain the Irish goodbye?
The official Irish goodbye. Now, I personally do not like this. I
feel like it's an Americanism.
Really?
No, no. So what happens is you're out having drinks with your friends. Say it's 1 a.m, you're still having drinks, enjoying yourself, and you turn around and you say, "Where's John?" I don't fucking know. And you text John, and John says, "Yeah, I'm at home." And you say, "Well, why didn't you just say goodbye before you left?" Too much hassle. That's an Irish goodbye.
Well, I think it's necessary because Irish people love to talk, and especially if you haven't talked to someone enough during the night. If you were to go round to 12 people and say goodbye, you're adding an extra hour and a half onto your night, and it's an hour and a half that you're not drinking.
I think it's more people who exercise an Irish goodbye don't want people to say, have one more. Have one more.
I definitely
have one more.
think that's part of it. There's a lot of peer pressure to keep on drinking.
And I do that.
Other people are, yeah.
I'm the person that says, have one more. Yeah. Have one more.
I'll even buy it for you.
Exactly.
Here's the point.
Exactly.
You
can have mine.
That.
What? Oh, I'll buy it for you.
Yeah. I've never heard it.
The Arkin pint over here.
Oh, great. Bilbo arrives back at the Shire with Gandalf.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Can I just point out one thing that has annoyed me in the 3 movies is Bilbo's pocket. It's too fucking small. It's not going to secure that ring. You know the way when you wear a suit and it's
not even
the
like
pocket is stitched closed.
Yeah.
And you don't open the stitches in the pocket and it's just like a lip. That's where he keeps the ring. Fuck no, it's too precious.
Hey!
Yay!
You needn't worry about that ring. It fell out of my pocket during the battle. I lost it.
Bilbo arrives back at the Shire with Gandalf, meekly lying to him that he lost the one ring. Gandalf sees right through it. But Bilbo finds his estate being auctioned off, as they assumed he was dead. He had left 13 months ago. Get out of there, and he makes it into his gaff. Bilbo, finally back inside his house, rests. Cut to Ian Holmes reenacting the start of Lord of the Rings from his point of view, and curtain down.
No, thank you. We don't want any more visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
And what about very old friends?
Gandalf?
Bilbo Baggins.
Dear Gandalf.
Good to see you.
Yeah, what do you think of Battle of Five Armies?
All right, so I had never seen this before, so I went in completely fresh. I had heard the movie was awful, and my general feelings were it's very long. The battle goes on for way too long. I would say it is aggressively long, but it was still an easy watch. I enjoyed it for what it was. I do have issues with it, but that's more based on how the Hobbit trilogy was made and the fact that they turned the entire third movie into the final act of a movie, which meant that the pacing was all weird. The biggest issue with it is that it's missing that killer scene. It didn't have Diddles in the Dark. It didn't have Smaug.
Yeah.
And so I think they thought that the epic battle would be, is it Helm's Deep is the long battle in the second movie?
Helm's Deep.
Yeah, I thought that they thought that this was an equivalent to that, and it's just not. You know what I mean? And then my other big issue with it, the movie series is called The Hobbit, and I've really felt it was missing the Hobbit in this movie. He's just not in it very much. And I thought that the scenes where he was in it, he was excellent. But yeah, not terrible, perfectly watchable.
Out of 10.
6.5.
Yeah.
Oh. Alright, the film is Battle of Five Armies. When the Five Armies started, never mind analysing the characters and players in this battle, zoom out, the actual picture that's being presented is ugly, searing brightness, overexposed harsh lighting. It is not pleasant to look at. Why is that? It's because how they shot the movie. It was shot in 48 frames, 3D, despite Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings having an established look. The main negative of 3D RED cameras is that it needs far more light to pass through it. So the result is an unnaturally bright, artificial looking scene. Like, film has a kind of hazy luminance to it, slightly out of focus, which lends really well to fantasy. But filming for 3D, like, this is sharp, overly lit, accentuating all the flaws. I will also say that open matte, which includes, usually it's 2.39 to 1 with the bars top and bottom. Mm-hmm. If you add in the top and bottom, you're just looking at the overly bright sky and the ground, and it just results in a way worse picture.
The movie looks like a cutscene from a game.
Yes, which is really bad. So no, horrible. Terrible. Oh my god.
In its defense, at least stuff happens in this movie. I felt like in the first one, a lot of nothing happens.
Dishes were washed.
Songs were sung. Whereas here, at least, there's always something going on. The issue is, the name of the movie gives it away, The Battle of the Five Armies. It's a movie that just builds up to a battle that goes on too long. Whereas in Two Towers and Return of the King, you have two amazing battles in there, which are part and the climax of each movie, but they are part of a movie. Whereas this is just, we're talking about it and now we're doing it and now it's over and we're done. We've covered Thorin so much, but I think Steve hit the nail on the head earlier when he said that, yeah, he rallied at the end, but it was too late. Too much damage had been done and we didn't spend enough time building him back up. And Bilbo really did fuck all in this film, even less than the last film. At least in the last film he had Smaug. Yeah, I didn't care for most of the dwarves at all throughout the trilogy. Still didn't in this one.
Oh, and you quite like Legolas in this movie?
Excuse me. Sorry, thank you for reminding me. So yeah, by far the best thing about the movie is Legolas. He's just cool and he's just great all the time. And he just was doing the same shit he was doing in Lord of the Rings, and it was just cool shit. They gave him the best shit anyway.
That was my point, that I feel that they gave him all of the cool moments and that took away from other people who probably earned it more.
Yeah.
Like Philly.
Like, in this movie, Dwalin did nothing, and he was the cool one in the first movie. He was the badass.
Did he even? I didn't even see him swing a sword.
He got given out to.
Yeah.
That was his role in this movie.
He got sent
Actually,
packing,
he was on the barge, the pig barge.
Yeah.
That Balin had. He was there.
Yeah, I know, but did he even?
He paid the parking. You know. It's he's on the hook for it. Yeah. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Anything else? 5, 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6. It ties with An Unexpected Journey.
Okay, so that does it for the first half of this Hobbit 3 deep dive. Stay tuned for part 2, our post-show game show, where we have segments such as What Happened to the Dwarves, Book Differences, Extended and Deleted Scenes, Fan Edits, OOC's Behind the Scenes, V1's Hobbit video game, Jay's Hobbit adaptation, and finish with Reception, Errant Observations, and Final Thought. All this and less coming up after this musical interlude. Part 2, What Happened to the Dwarves Post-Hobbit? I know no one gives a shit about the dwarves, but what happened to them anyway? 13 total. Thorin, Fili and Killy died in Battle of 5 Armies. Thorin's line has ended. Dain inherited rulership of Erebor, the king under the mountain. Dwalin stayed with King Dain, serving his kin, and died off-screen during Lord of the Rings, defending King Brand of Dale, Bard's grandson. Gloin...
Arr, my gloin!
Gimli's dad travelled with Gimli to meet at the Council of Elrond, and so was there at the formation of the Fellowship of the Ring. Afterwards, they would have had their tea and chat and then go home to inform Dain and help prep for battle versus the Easterlings. Easterlings are a wicked subset of men hostile to the goodies, like Aragorn's kin. Balin continued to fight for all that is good, most notably leading the charge to reclaim Khazad-dûm about 50 years later. That was his big thing, which ended in tragedy. They did take control of Moria for several years, but eventually it would be their tomb. By the way, Balin's axe is seen in Fellowship of the Ring. It's like, you didn't bury me with my axe! Of course, it was Balin's grave that Gimli weeps over in Fellowship of the Ring. He was a distant cousin too, adding to the heartache of his kin being wiped out. And Gimli would have known it was him immediately, as Balin would have regularly written home about his expedition to Moria, and those letters stopped. When Balin fell, Oin led a group west out of Moria, but was murdered by the Watcher in the Water that the Fellowship meet in Fellowship of the Ring. Awesome character design. Ori stayed inside in the Mines of Moria, recording the last moments of the dwarves, listening to the drums of the orcs as they got closer, hoping someone might find this record before getting snuffed out. Bombur lived as he most likely died, gorging himself on anything put in front of him. Post-Hobbit, he got so fat they needed 6 men to wheel him from his couch to the table. Jimmy Nesbitt sadly lived. Along with Dwalin, the remaining 4, Bifur, Bofur, Nori and Dori, got their 1/14th share of the dragon's gold, making them some of the richest people in the entire Middle Earth. They were still young enough, so they likely would have fought the Easterlings during the War of the Ring. Eh?
Very nice, Jay. Where did you get all this concise information?
Kim, who is a huge Tolkien nerd, she helped a lot with this. Anything where I sound smart, it was her.
Well done, Kim.
Good job.
Okay, film versus book. The differences between book and film. 52 pages, this film. Chapter 14, Fire and Water to the end. The most preposterous adaptation. 52 pages, stretched out to 164 minutes. Does everyone just speak really slowly? Obviously, they wring the book dry, but here's the main additions and changes. Bard's family doesn't exist, so no Toriel helping them escape. Bard himself only shows up in the book when Smaug's attack on Laketown is in full swing. He's just a captain of the town's archers. He gives a quick speech and shoots his black arrow, not running on rooftops and using his son as a brace.
Arrow, black arrow, I have saved you to the last. You have never failed me, and always I have recovered you. I had you from my father, and he from of old. If ever you came from the forges of the true king under the mountain, go now, and speed well. This was my favourite part of the book, and what I was most excited about seeing in the movie. Bard, although he was pretty good, he wasn't as cool as I had envisaged he would have been, based on the book, because he's just a badass.
Okay. The Master isn't killed by Smaug falling on him. He escapes the boat, and Bard, who is made king by the people, actually gives him gold for his service, which is very generous and noble of him. It's not mentioned in the movie, but Bard is from the line of Girion, former Lord of Dale, and so was the rightful king anyway. Alfred is a movie creation entirely, so all that faff where he dresses up like a wench to escape duty doesn't exist.
Ugh, Peter. Mate.
The whole Gandalf and Dol Guldur was a giant expansion at a throwaway couple of lines. In the book, Gandalf only cryptically mentions driving out the necromancer from Dol Guldur.
I have some pressing business to attend to away south.
And that was it. And only appears right as Bolg is coming, as opposed to the day beforehand, so we can powwow with Thranduil and Bard. His late arrival stops the elves and dwarves clashing, by the way. Toriel doesn't exist, and Legolas isn't in The Hobbit, so no awkward love triangle bollocks. No need for them to go to Mount Gundabad and find out that, yes, the orcs are coming from Mount Gundabad.
The orcs are doing exactly what we thought the orcs would be doing.
The dwarves are never split up, so no need for reunion scenes. Thranduil isn't a huge asshole like in the movie, and doesn't fight, he's just kind of commands. The battle in the book is literally 5 pages long.
Yeah.
Wow.
The battle of 5 pages. Bilbo was KO'd in the book as well by an errant stone, not being knocked out by an orc, although he was wearing the ring at the time, so searchers would have missed him.
Mm-hmm.
Fili and Killy's death protecting Thorin is one line in the book.
Fili and Killy had fallen defending him with shield and body, for he was their mother's elder.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
And finally, at Bag End, Bilbo doesn't lie to Gandalf that he lost the ring, and Gandalf drops him to Bag End, not in the woods a wee bit outside Hobbiton. However, Bilbo's stuff being auctioned off is how the film ends too, which quite emphasises how much of a stranger he is even to his own kind now. The movie ends tying Gandalf's visit at the start of Fellowship of the Ring, but Gandalf and Balin did knock into Bilbo before the events of Lord of the Rings, catching him up on how everyone's going. Ooh, what was in the extended edition?
18 minutes of fighting.
In total, 62 differences, including 12 alternative scenes, 7 recuts, 9 scenes with digital alterations. I mean, further alterations. Initially, Jackson announced it'd be 30 minutes longer and an R-rated cut, but the final is a 12s rating and only 19.5 minutes. Including Dol Guldur in general, from Gandalf's introduction to Galadriel hot-dogging to the fight itself. It's all stretched. Digital alterations like adding more fighting in the background of Galadriel mothering over Gandalf, and maybe some dewback lizards in the background walking across. Adding scenes like Bilbo talking to Boffer before leaving, with his implied consent. Thranduil name-dropping Ectelion, Denethor's dad, is new. The whole elves versus dwarves both talking and fighting before the real battle is new, or expanded. But the bulk of it is adding action shots in the Battle of Five Armies.
You're right, Steve.
Like the whole Balin's mobile turret gun ganking orcs, that's all new, and giving Bomber and the lads their own spots in the Battle of Five Armies, which I think was very necessary. Azog ordering the troops to take out Balin and their war machine, showcasing its 2 different orc armies, so I think that was good. And Alfred's death inadvertently helping Gandalf, which was just awful. But holy shit! cut from the theatrical edition, Thorin's funeral with the lads, and Dain being named King of the Mountain. You know, all 6 seconds of it.
Yeah, that's right. It was very short and honestly, not needed.
I'd want to know, like, you know, Thorin ending and this is what the dwarves are doing going forward, I think.
Yeah, I think a few seconds isn't going to kill anyone.
I just feel like it should have had more, you know what I mean?
I hate
give it a minute.
He moves his head, he bows his head. We don't know who you are. Just look out so we can look at you for 6 seconds as opposed to looking at your forehead. Like. Anyway, deleted scenes. Are there actually any deleted scenes that aren't in the extended cut? Yes. When Lake Town is on fire, some person gets their family like out of the burning gaff and then is engulfed in flame. It's like, yeah, I can see cutting that.
Yeah.
Alfred takes a few swings at Bilbo. He's like, whoa, and misses him by a mile. Genuinely hilarious. Animatic of Smaug, he does some kind of ski swoop where his feet kind of tear up the village as it goes along. It actually looks really cool. Also another animatic of a few shots of Beorn wrecking shop during the Battle of the Five Armies, which was great.
Yeah.
That probably would have been nice.
Could have done with a bit of that.
Yeah.
Gandalf and Bard are chatting and Bilbo decides to plant the acorn, not in his home or the Shire, but in Dale. Wait, are you ever going to be there again?
Where did he get the acorn from again?
Oh, he stole it from Beorn's farm.
Yeah.
And he was going to plant it back at the gaff when he gets home.
Okay, but like in a few years, somebody's going to have to chop that down because it's probably going to be in the way. At least if it's in his own garden, it's his problem.
Wouldn't that technically end up being an invasive species and destroying the ecosystem?
Dale crumbles.
What does Dale's homeowner association have to say about it? And a really big thing, Gandalf delivers a eulogy to Thorin in a deleted scene, which I will splicey later.
You wouldn't give a fuck about Thorin, would he?
Yeah,
he's part of the company.
Would.
Part of the company.
He definitely would.
Yeah. Speaking of addition, adding things, deleting things, this all leads to fan edits. This trilogy of The Hobbit is the most fan-edited movies in history. So many edits just tell you that there is good in the series. It's just obscured by a ton of studio interference and movie bloat. I went through most of the heavy hitter fan edits in the first Hobbit review, the Maple Films by Dustin Lee edit being the most famous and the gold standard. I just wanted to shout out 2 other edits that have come out. Stromboli Bones and his Battle of the 5 Edits.
Great.
Who divides up the 3 films into 5 chapters, each ranging from 52 to 58 minutes. So like a kind of mini series. 5 Edits is a reference to the 5 fan edits that served as his inspiration framework from Don Camillo, Spence, Dustin Lee, that's Maple Films, Lade Werter, and Adam Dens.
My main goal with this project was to remove the things that really drug these films down, thus allowing the parts that were actually good to come to the forefront.
And special attention to the M4 Studios edit, a 2020 release that was updated in June 2024. 51% of the films were cut out, 8 hours 19 down to 4 hours 5 without credits. And I watched it. Holy shit, what an improvement. It's so good. Relevant to Hobbit 3, the edit stays with, the end of Hobbit 2. The edit stays with Smaug, toying with Bilbo. It doesn't cut away to bollocks. It stick with the really good stuff.
Good. Then you can watch them die.
Smaug deduces it's thanks to the tub trading Lakeman. No toying with Bilbo, no hiding from Smaug, no relighting of forges, no covering of gold. He just busts straight out to siege Lake Town. It's so tight. Bard, no escape from the prison and strangling Stephen Fry. He just busts out of his roof, heads to the bell tower, cut out his family. He sieged in, Bard using wooden wreckage to prop up the bow. Awesome. Removing the bloat really injects energy into the Hobbit. That's a word we haven't used in this review. Something you can really feel, like the pace of it. It allows the good things to breathe and be showcased. 55 minutes of Battle of Five Armies cut down to 18.
Whoa, get in.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Really clever edits, like cutting out elves versus dwarves pre-battle, and the baddies roll out their heavy hitters one by one instead of staggering them. Makes it much easier to follow. Elves and dwarves versus orcs beside the Lonely Mountain, humans versus orcs in the ruined city of Dale. It went by so fast. It could have actually used another minute or two selling Killian Philly's death, which may be impossible with Evangeline Lilly in the shot.
Yeah.
Question,
Yes.
when Smaug breaks out of the mountain, did he CGI out then the gold?
Yes, he took it out. Like the entire dragon sickness plot is removed.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah. So that would improve Thorin's character arc so much.
It gives him more agency. Like his actions are from his pride, his ego, his greed, and he decides against that to be kingly and lead. And that's way better than I'm sick. No, I'm not.
Yeah. And
Thorin
needs braces.
I might have to scoodly this off you.
Yeah. Oh,
or
man.
do you have it on the old Plexaroonie?
I will plex it up for you, sir.
My name is Bilbo Baggins.
It's so good. It made me think, is there anything keeping it from being the official perfect version? There's one thing an edit can't fix, and this is not a fault of the editor. You can only use the material provided by the Blu-ray. Like, I hate how the Hobbit films are edited. Like, with GPU killing CGI rendering, so many of the shots are so short. Quick cuts, like a TV show. There's no grandeur or lingering shots, which is what Lord of the Rings has, you know? So despite being so long, there's so much faffing, a fatiguing number of quick shots. It was somehow inefficient and overly long. Like, there's a bit... Okay, the elves come to join the humans just before they talk to Thorin. The elves come and they have a wagon full of food. They have the wagon of food. That's all the information I need. I don't need 7 shots of some guy giving you a sprout to extra number 4. I don't care. Why is there 7 shots? You know, that kind of thing, which can't be helped. The other thing is this version is the theatrical 2.39 to 1 with the bars top and bottom, and like seeing less of the screen really helps out because you don't get the blistering brightness of the outside with it. Yeah, the trilogy, over 8 hours, down to a tight 4. Available free on his site, as long as you already own a copy. Myself and OSC own multiple, so a few of you are good, you know. Just Google M4 Hobbit, and it'll take you to his GitHub. Highly recommend.
The king has come unto his own, under mountain, under stone. Send him now unto the deep, unto earth, eternal sleep, under mountain, under stone. Through all the lands, let it be known, the king is dead.
Long live the king! Long live the king!
We actually shot for 266 days on The Hobbit, which was exactly the same number of days that we shot on The Lord of the Rings. So I've sort of done the once in a lifetime experience twice, but not a third time. There won't be a third time.
So just talking about edits and cutting out half the film and it's a better film. Battle of Five Armies was a mess, but I want to know the juicy goss. Break out the dirt sheets, brother. And there's only one man qualified to give us the behind the scenes scandal. OC, did you break out the Hobbit DVDs?
I did. 5 DVDs. First 2 are the movie with a small extra and director's commentary. And then the last 3 are extras. 9 fucking hours. Right? I got 3 hours. I tapped out. But I've documented 3 hours.
Yes.
Perfect.
This is more than enough. Trust me.
That's all you're getting.
This is more than enough. Again, I apologise in advance, Steve. Have a drink of Coke here.
The ejector seat is ready. Alrighty.
All right. Disc 1, New Zealand, Home of Middle-earth, Part 3. Now, this is only a small thing, but again, it was another advertisement for New Zealand. So nothing you haven't really seen before. They showed where Lake Town was filmed, as well as Dale. And then again, Martin Freeman had that similar line about having a tagline for an advertisement for coming to New Zealand. So similar stuff. So Disc 3, Appendices Part 2, The Gathering Storm, The Chronicles of the Hobbit Part 3. All right. Section 1.
Oh my God, it's like a fucking legal letter.
It's so stupid. Right. So Section 1, in the dungeons of the necromancer Dol Guldur, they mentioned they wanted Gandalf to have something to do rather than disappear until the battle. So we've covered all this. You know, he headed south.
Did he have a cry on set this time?
No crying. Much kind of brighter, livelier on set. He doesn't like fighting. I don't think that'll shock anyone. Ian McKellen doesn't like fighting. There was quite a lot of Kieran Shah, the dwarf that played the Oompa Loompas in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Okay.
He did a lot of the body double stuff in these movies.
Did he do the dance?
The sorry, no, the Charlie and the Chocolate one didn't even have that, the Oompa Loompa song.
What? They didn't have a song? What did he do?
He did
he just
different
smoke?
songs. He did different songs. He just didn't do the good one.
Oh, okay.
They thought the Gandalf dummy that Galadriel was carrying looked like Michael Gambon. I thought you might like that, Jay. Big Harry Potter mark.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a corner on the Top Gear racetrack now, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, it was like...
Didn't think he put on that much weight.
Gambon was like... so like... second to last corner.
Right, okay. He didn't die there, did he?
Yeah.
So this was Gandalf and Galadriel's first scene together. I think they mean in person, because they had a scene in the last movie, but I don't think they were in the same room. Like it was all
the
green
Council of
screen.
Smelrond, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
But
my God. You
that.
didn't have a scene together if it was green screen and you do them separately, but yeah.
But they were in person, and apparently they got on very well.
Yeah.
So
there was
a lot of the
between
hoo-hoos.
Aging woman and this homosexual. Like. She's gorgeous.
He's so angry.
She's gorgeous, but shut up, lads. It's not happening.
I agree. You're so angry, but she is gorgeous, isn't she?
Yeah.
And she seems like a really bloody nice lady as well. Oh, Benedict Cumberbatch. Have you got a new name from?
Benadryl Cumbersnitch.
There we go. Benadryl. Can't even get that here, can you? Don't think you get that here.
The GPs. The GP. You gotta get a prescription.
He's back, and he's doing his voiceover acting in his motion capture suit again. No sheepskin rug this time. Yeah. Because he did the voice of both Smaug and the Necromancer, even though the Necromancer was just he did that as well. But he still had to wear the motion capture suit.
He's just the most British necromancer you could ever imagine. Like,
he's not Cockney. So this was Cate Blanchett's last scene with Peter Jackson. I don't know if they collaborated since. I doubt it.
Did you get anything? Did you get a sword or?
She got a little brooch, which maybe it was her brooch from her costume. You know, why not? I mean, I can't imagine she's going to be swinging a sword around at home. Which is what I'd fucking do. But you do it as well in the garden. Like,
yeah.
You'd be swinging that sword.
There's nothing in it.
No, well, we should have put some Chanel No. 5 in it.
Part 2, Fire and Water, Attack on Lake Town. So we have Luke Evans, who played Bard, doing some mild stunt work. I mentioned earlier, he kept hitting his head on that bell, which I thought, that's hilarious. How did they not factor that in? Just a swinging bell.
Have a slightly taller bell tower.
Please, yeah.
I cannot believe there was an actual bell. This is a Peter Jackson movie. Yeah. CG the bell, mate.
Of all
You've
the
done
things,
it to everything else in the world.
Of all the things not to CGI,
yeah,
it was
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. So when they were filming all this stuff, there was a snowstorm. This is the quality you get in these behind the scenes
weather happens
DVDs, Steve. Yeah, yeah. They were laughing at weather. Interesting. Orlando Bloom's Ma was a Lake Town extra.
Fair play, though.
Nepo Mulder.
Winch number 4.
Yeah. So yeah,
old Florida Bloom herself.
Florida Bloom. Miami Bloom, yeah. Very good. They had to design an arrow that they felt would realistically kill a dragon, right? So they didn't want a regular arrow, which I thought was a cop-out. But anyway, so they had the corkscrew design of the arrow so they felt like it would seem like it burrowed into his chest.
Oh, okay.
I genuinely think that was the correct choice.
No, man, it would have been so cool if it was just a plain old fucking arrow. But anyway.
But like, it would only go into the dragon like this, you know,
and
like an inch or two.
That's what they were thinking, but fuck it. Guess what, lads? We're scraping the bottom of the Lake Town barrel here, right? They only went and interviewed the best boy.
Oh, hey, listen, I want to hear about the best boy.
I'm not exaggerating. Do you think I documented what he said? No.
I would like to know, who are you and what are you doing here?
I'm not listening to you, but I got his name, Ants Farrell.
Okay.
That's it. Fuck you. And he turns up again later on. So Andy Serkis was back.
Oh.
Yeah,
they let him in.
Yeah, but all these behind the scenes stuff are an amalgamation of the 3 movies all happening.
Yeah.
So like Andy Serkis, we discussed in the behind the scenes in the last movie, it was his last scene and he kind of wandered off into the night and nobody said goodbye to him. But so he's back here, but this was obviously before he finished up. Part 3, Under the Shadow of the Mountain, Rock and Pillar Range. So there is quite a funny scene in this where Andy Serkis they actually have to airlift a Portaloo up to the top of the mountain because there's no fucking toilet up there. And Andy Serkis was hanging out of the Portaloo going, ah! And then you see a shot of the helicopter with the Portaloo flying off to the top of the mountain. This made me laugh out loud. But Andy Serkis was obviously on the ground. It was a joke.
Hey.
It was very funny. It was very funny.
I thought the Portaloo was going to fall over him. And
like shit coming.
Changes to screams piercing into the night.
Well, that was close.
Oh, now we had the best boy. Now we got the key grip.
Oh, hey,
we got
moving up in the world.
Oh,
his name is Tony Keddy, and
Tony,
and all we're missing now is the gaffer. But Steve wasn't available that day. Fuck you, Steve. Let me finish the joke. Okay, part 4, In the Wake of the Dragon. We're nearly there, Steve. Lake Pukaki or Bukaki in Sur-
Oh my god!
That's not a lake you want to be visiting, Jay.
You want to put a head to toe full condom going into that. Snorkeling.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is the most Hollywood sounding lake there's ever been.
I know.
So, lake casting couch next to it.
Okay. The cast are doing a read through, right? And you never guess what. Fucking Nesbitt. I mean, he's done it again. His fucking kids he brought his kids with him. And I know his kids have parts. They're actually Bard's 2 daughters. I get it. They don't have lines. What's their one line?
Daw!
Yeah, that's it. They don't need a read through. They don't need to practice. They just need you to coach them. But they were interviewed. I'm not listening to you. I don't care. You're a Nesbitt. I don't want to hear from you.
Yeah, we only like Rabsy in this case.
I will tell you this. I am a Nesbitt, and a Nesbitt knows no fear. Here you are.
Right, then they're filming the aftermath of Smaug's attack on Lake Town. So this is when they're washed up on the shore. They talk about continuity. You know, continuity is a big thing in movies. Mm-hmm. Like in the last shot, you had your sword in your right hand. And the next shot, you also have your sword in your right hand. Well done. And the continuity lady keeps track of it. And she gives her name is, I think, Victoria. So instead of getting a Victoria cross at the end, she gives you a Victoria's cross. Yeah?
Is this a legally contracted 9 hours?
We're nearly there. Can you imagine if I do? This is only the 3 hours.
You need to find the fan edit of the 9 hours.
We're nearly there, Steve. 2 more parts. Part 5, The Gathering of the Clouds at Erebor. By the way,
real or CGI?
Inclement weather again. I like this bit actually. Ian McKellen reads the novel on set and gives advice based on the novel. Like there's one part where they were going to throw Bilbo from the ramparts, and Gandalf shouts up something like, "Don't harm my burglar.
Return him to me."
Yeah. He actually suggested to Peter Jackson that he'd do that line. I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I always thought they'd suggest having a fake Bilbo to throw off the ramparts.
Like a stunt double.
Yeah. Like, you know the way Gandalf had Michael Gambon?
Yeah.
Should we have Bilbo?
Like when Homer fakes his death.
Yeah.
At the waterfall.
Oh no! They're biting him and stealing his pants.
Okay. The scene where Thorin turned babyface was originally supposed to be in the pile of coins. So this is when he's doing his Gillian Anderson in the bath.
Yes, yeah.
It was supposed to be like Scrooge McDuck. He falls into the coins.
And just breaks his neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they form a solid mass.
But it was too expensive. Fuck that. And that's why Peter Jackson at the last minute came up with the idea of the gold floor.
He came up with the idea with CGI.
Yeah. He was like, and he kind of hints at it the whole time in the extras that we just didn't have time to do anything. We were just on the fly the whole time making decisions.
Yeah, 2 months of prep instead of a year and a half. Yeah,
that's what it'll do to you.
When you're going onto a set, very complicated, and you're winging it. You've got nothing to go on, no storyboards, no previs. You've got these massively complicated scenes and you're just making it up there and then on the spot.
Final part I'm going to cover, part 6. Many partings, end of principle.
Many partings.
Many partings, end of principal photography. So I thought this was a good opportunity to finish. So the scene where Bilbo says goodbye to the dwarves, of course they're all actors, they're all very emotional. So they all were really emotional because I think Martin Freeman was heading off at that point. They weren't going to see him again. And they'd worked with him for, 2 years or whatever it was.
Any gifts?
Didn't see any gift for Bilbo.
Ooh, I think, did he get his smoking jacket? Do you know at the start of the film he's in his smoking jacket?
Okay.
Currently in a box in his attic.
You know what I'd rather? Give me fucking the mithril armor, please.
Oh,
yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, didn't they all get little Lego versions?
Did they?
Yeah. They all got little Legos of themselves.
You probably
Which
watched more than I
means
did.
fucking nothing.
You can just buy it in the shop
Yeah.
anyway.
You've already made a few million of them.
Yeah.
Oh, but you got it a month ahead of time. Great.
So then they had a prize wheel that they kept breaking out. There's some good prizes like holidays and.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait, is it to Lake Bukake?
Bukake?
Yeah, I don't.
Bukake.
I don't want it.
You just have to come into my dressing room. Go this way. Yeah, so they had, I can't remember, vouchers, holiday, all sorts of good things. And they were perturbed because there was a visual effects guy called Eric that kept winning. I think he won 4 times. So there was a raffle to get a spin on a wheel to win a prize from the wheel. And gentlemen, that brings to an end my personal journey through the Hobbit Special Edition DVDs behind the scenes extras.
Are you in need of assistance, my lady? And don't forget now, I am a good man in this film.
Yes. Absolutely. I love both.
Very decent, honourable, upright, noble.
It's like a mug shot with your name on it.
Okay.
Thank you, very glad.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question. It doesn't seem like they had any scandal. That was just mostly key grip, best boy, garbage. They stopped production completely because Peter Jackson was like, I have nothing for the Battle of 5 Armies. And they just stopped production for 6 months so he could work it out. Yeah.
That could have been covered in the other 6 hours.
But if it wasn't in the first 6 hours, it's not in the last. The other one, Toriel, she signed up to The Hobbit saying, no love triangle, no love whatever. I want to be an elf and kick ass. That'd be great. And they're like, yeah, no problem. And then they do rewrites.
All she has.
You'd never guess what I mean. You're in so much of the movie now. Obviously, I don't expect it on the DVD, but there's some fucking dodgy stuff. It turns out people film in New Zealand for 2 reasons. One, the beautiful, breathtaking scenery.
Let me guess. Tax haven.
No.
Even better than that.
Animal cruelty.
Even better than that.
Workers' rights.
Yes. The labour laws aren't strict. Or as strict, After Lord of the Rings, New Zealand was put on the map. But in general, the film industry wouldn't survive without the international film companies coming to film all this stuff there. Like parts of all of the Avatar movies, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, Alien Covenant. With Lord of the Rings, New Zealand actors, workmen, blah, 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 didn't get any type of residuals. So when The Hobbit was going to be here, it's like, lads, we need some money. So the actors decided to form a union called Actors Equity in order to get the same rights as you would in other countries.
All we are asking is for fair and equitable terms and conditions, minimum terms and conditions that our colleagues overseas enjoy.
But then Warner Brothers said, we're going to pull your bluff. We will just pull out of New Zealand. We'll go film in Ireland. We'll film in Poland. Doesn't matter. And then the New Zealand government went, whoa. I'll tell you what, we'll just change the rights of workers instead. And so you guys stay. We'll even give you a tax rebate.
Wow.
So please keep it in New Zealand. So yeah, the Hobbit law, film workers are now independent contractors. And so they can't bind together and have a better deal as a collective anymore.
The government will introduce legislation tomorrow into Parliament to clarify the distinction between independent contractors and employees as it relates only to the film production industry.
The good news, there's good news. Lots of large international film companies go to New Zealand. But the bad news is that it's relatively few and far between. Like, you won't be working constantly. And the other bad thing is that having all these film companies come there hasn't boosted New Zealand's own film production, you know? And you've fucked over the, actors' rights with the Hobbit law. But hey, we got Alfred stuffing coins into his bosom. So there's that.
10 on 10.
Yep.
And now we have an exclusive interview with the Warner Brothers execs. It's like, I will not part with a single coin.
The elven and dwarven races have always had little trust for each other, but now they must unite and fight a common enemy.
Now, if there's any movie primed to be a video game, it's Hobbit 3. Some kind of Stratego-Rome Total War, civilization type game, commanding at least one of 3 babyface armies to conquer the orcs. I don't know how the rest of the film will work, Thorin falling into madness, probably be some terrible QTE button mashing. So in Hobbit 1 OSW, V1 has reviewed the very first Hobbit game from 1982. That was wonderful.
I love that one.
Yeah. In Hobbit 2 OSW, V1 graced us with a rather decent children's game, Lego The Hobbit. So now...
Not so much, didn't like that one.
Stephen, you were too happy.
It's too easy.
We need 60% more misery from you.
Yeah, please.
Because I was like, V1, should I ask Steve, can you review the GameCube Hobbit, the PS2 Hobbit? It's like, nah, that's too good. V1, sir, what have you got for us, baby?
Well, it was requested of me. Nay, it was demanded of me.
Polite demanding.
Polite demanding. There was a gun cocked off screen, So Jay made me review The Hobbit, Battle of the Five Armies, Fight for Middle Earth, the mobile game.
Yes!
Oh my god.
Released in 2014 for Android and iOS devices, published by Warner Brothers Interactive and developed by Uego Studios, who did have a wiki link, and I clicked on and it just brings you to some article about information technology in India. It's a fake page. Cool. The Hobbit Battle of Five Armies Fight for Middle Earth is an utterly soulless cash grab tie-in mobile game that has almost zero redeeming qualities.
Ooh, almost. Hey.
But not a 0.
But not a 0, like a 0.001 kind of level here. Alright, so before I talk about the game, I want to take you on an unexpected journey.
Hey!
This is unexpected.
Yeah.
And back again of getting the game up and running, okay? The first thing I do is download the XAPK file, which is the game file of an Android video game, okay? Double click, let's go. Nah, ungong. It's just nothing. Windows having absolutely none of it. So Google it, best way to run Android mobile games, and find out that a program called Nox is the best thing to get, okay? Double click on the game, I can see it loading into the program. Dun dun, nothing.
What time did you install Nox?
10:15. The only time.
Imagine if he waited. Just for the joke.
So, go back to the Google box. Find out that the guide that I was watching was specifically for an Intel CPU. I have an AMD CPU. So, turn off PC, boot back into BIOS, turn on SVT, restart PC, turn on Nox, click on game. It's like, yes!
Yeah.
First thing I notice when you click on play, the battle of 5 armies fight for Middle Earth. You have a choice of one of 4 armies to play as.
So let me guess now. Who do you think they're going to leave out? They're going to have the men, they're going to have the elves, they're going to have the dwarves, and one of the orcs then? Is that
they
it?
just count the orcs.
Yeah.
It's,
Okay, yeah.
it's
Fair
just
enough.
orcs,
That's,
you know?
That makes it simple.
Racists.
Click on the elves, the game starts. Holy shit, the fucking state of it. Oh my god, it's so ugly. It's like PS1 level graphics, maybe worse. It's muddy, it's dirty looking, it's not clean. The character models are ropey. They only made like one character model of each race, and so you're just fighting the same orc over and over again, or you're fighting the same human over and over again if you choose to play as the orcs. It's ridiculous, okay?
By the way, this is a mobile game from 2014.
2014,
So
yeah.
it's been a hop, skip, and a jump since then. What happened in 2014?
WrestleMania 30.
Oh, wow. Okay, so WrestleMania 30 is 2014?
That's like Daniel Bryan winning the champion. That's like,
it's been a while since the Yes movement.
Yeah. By the way, the elves, you are playing as 3 faceless elf army members, and they have bows. So you can't get too close. You've got to bow them from a distance. It takes a few to down every orc. In an area, there might be like a dozen orcs. And then you'll kill them, and then this arrow will pop on the screen and it tells you where to go. But the arrow's bollocks, because the arrow will point you to go like top right. And so you go top right, and then the arrow will start like spinning to the left and everything. I'm like, I don't know where to go. And it turns out even though it wants me to go top right, to get there, I had to go left and around, you know? And it just doesn't tell you any of that. So the meat of the game is you clear out one area, then you move on to the next area, then you clear out the next area and you move on. There's no clear end to where you're going. You don't fight Azog, you don't fight Bolg, you just fight waves until you're finished, and then your score comes up and it's like, right, you've got 135,000 score. And it doesn't matter, because when the game actually launched, there were scoreboards.
Yeah.
But the game is dead, so you just get like a red warning.
Stop playing this piece of shit.
Yeah, basically. Oh, sorry. And when your commander comes out, one more button appears on the screen. That's their special.
Oh.
So you are joined by Thranduil, who doesn't have a bow. He's got double swords. And it's very wispy. It's like... And it's literally the same thing. You go through a few waves of orcs, move on to the next area, the same again. And it's like, at some point, your characters will just turn around to the camera and celebrate. So yeah, I did that. Then I went back in and I played as the dwarfs. It's the exact same thing, except for Thorin comes out and he's got a sword. And his special move, you charge it up and then you mash the X button and it goes like super slow-mo and he just starts doing like a twirly sword thing. I think I killed 2 orcs with it. And like in the time it took me to do that, I could have killed about 4 orcs just by regularly whacking buttons, you know? And I went back and I played the humans. Your 3 faceless guys are swords, and then the main guy you play is Bard, and he has his bow, and his special is the worst in the entire game. It builds up, and you smack the X button, it goes into super slow-mo, and then... regular, like in the normal game, you can probably fire a bow every 2 seconds, like bonk, bonk, and then the super is like maybe 1 every 4 seconds. This is awful. Like, it's absolutely awful. And it doesn't even one-hit kill, and you can't aim it. It just seems to be completely random. And then the last one is the orcs, where you play as random orc until Bolg joins you. Bolg actually feels different. He's got a different combo. And his super, I think it's the same as the sword guys, but because he's bigger, it seems to do, like, it has more area of damage, you know? But the delay between pressing block and him lifting the sword or bow is so long that you're just going to get ganked and you're probably going to die. I didn't use it. You're better off legging it, getting some distance, and then attacking. Man.
Are there any positives? I've been holding out for a positive.
He said 0.001%.
Yeah. What's the 0.0001%?
I'd probably say that Bolg has a different animation.
Big Bolg.
Might be the
Big
one
Bolg
good thing. I did feel good when I finally got it running.
There we go. Sense of accomplishment.
There was that, you know?
Yeah.
It has absolutely nothing to do with it. So, yeah, I played through all 4 campaigns. Like, my actual gameplay was only like 40 minutes max.
Yeah.
My time to set it up was a few hours.
Oh, no.
Rest assured that I was on the internet within minutes, registering my disgust throughout the world.
There we go.
I am slightly worried that the quality of the game is based on you getting it to run on an emulator.
Possibly.
Because I when I found the XAPK, I put it on my phone and it worked fine.
Really?
Yeah. It would, like, I played it for 10 minutes and, oh wow, this is shit. Here, I'll give it to Steve. I wanted you to suffer, but not that much.
It's so bad. Because I had to have it on my PC because I had to have the ability to capture it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that you guys could see what I went
I
through.
definitely want to see what it looks like.
And so after I played it, I was so curious as to what the general thoughts on this game were that I was looking for info on it. It is sparse out there. Like, there is no real review. There is a Metacritic. It's 20, which I think is very high, based off of 2 user reviews and 1 critical review. 1 user review, 10 on 10.
Mr. P. Jackson.
Yeah. And then the second one, 2 on 10.
Yeah.
And then the critical review, 1 star out of 5. And then there were 2 lists of all Lord of the Ring games ranked in order from worst to best.
Go on.
On the first one, it's not on it. And on the second one, 35th out of 35.
Oh no!
The worst Lord of the Ring game.
Number 1 then.
One of the worst games you'll ever play.
Worse than the text adventure.
Yeah, oh, I was gagging for a bit of fucking texting after this. It was.
It's all relative, see.
Yeah.
But yeah, seriously, this game aged me. Closing statement. Fuck you, Jay.
You say that after most reviews.
But I also have something to review. Coming up next, we have The Russian Hobbit.
Oh.
Ooh.
Rusev Fudria, Rusev Machka.
From 1985, V1, can you give me Hobbit in a Russian accent, please?
I'm going to review Hobbit.
That's a bit more Kazakhstan.
It was.
Yeah. Shot in 1984 and released the following year on Leningrad TV, now TV5. The director is the guy who translated The Hobbit into Russian, Vladimir Latchev. Important disclaimer, it'll become obvious immediately. It's not a movie. It's not a TV movie. It's a teleplay. Because the creation of movies are extremely expensive, we don't have the rubles for it. So Leningrad TV got into televising plays so people could watch. As such, the acting is theatrical, not cinematic. The costumes were usually left over from other plays, like in Shakespeare. Special effects were rudimentary, mostly green screen composite, so we can put a fire in the foreground, put the lads into a giant cave, there's some water, make some bubbles. You know, you should see someone there with a straw.
You know, like the pipe with the bubbles. One of them.
Production was fast, so they didn't have to pay the cast as much. And remember, it's aimed at children who have very low standards and expectations. What does this all result in? Let's find out.
I know anything about Russia. It's their quality television.
What's the itchy and scratchy?
Worker and Parasite.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so we begin with the... Can you see this?
Yeah.
Жил-был в своей норе под землей хоббит.
We begin with the on-screen narrator and storyteller, USSR Tolkien, who will introduce a series of single scenes, providing context in between each and prefacing the next. This framework was used in Russian children's TV series Tale After Tale. This guy Zinovy Gert. I'll just tell you about the stuff that's too expensive to shoot, which is a clever, cost-effective way to tell a story. Like, Bilbo dreams most of the action scenes in Hobbit 1, like the troll turning into stone. It's like, oh, that was a terrible dream. Oh, it happened. I'm not showing you, though. By the way, the presentation of isolated single scenes together is probably why the official title of this is The Fabulous Journey of Mr. Bilbo Baggins, the Hobbit, across the wild land, through the dark forest, beyond the misty mountains, there and back again.
Are they just naming the scenes? Like,
yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah. Say what you see.
Yeah. Bilbo looks like a Russian Teddy, the handyman from Bob's Burgers.
Jesus.
Whom I assume is just wearing his street clothes. Gandalf.
Oh my God.
Less
it's fucking Oz.
It is.
Yeah. It's Nashy. I'm Nash.
It's a nice silver cloak there. He really sidles up to Bilbo, tell him, hey, I want pleasure in your adventures.
Is Bilbo sitting on his lap?
No, he's on a bench.
The
and
fucking
he's just,
size of him. Is he bigger than Nashi?
Well, overall mass, I don't think he's as tall.
Okay. But you know, this reminds me of Nightmare. You remember the awesome TV show from the early 90s?
Where they project the background and they have a few props.
Now, Stephen, the doors before, the quests below. Get you gone, and off you go.
The dwarves have a much stronger wandering Arabian type feel with simple but colourful robes and cowls.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So you get a closer look at
Thorin.
Yeah. Obviously.
That's
obviously. Steve, how did you not know?
sorry. Thoringe.
Hey.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
He's won.
I'm Thoringe.
Thorin and co impose on Bilbo, barking their orders for food to him. And one of them's like, give me more cabbage pie!
Oh, cabbage pie.
That sounds delicious.
To a bit of pierogi? Is there a cabbage pierogi?
Yeah, cabbage and mushroom. Yeah, for Christmas. It's amazing. It's like spiced cabbage and mushroom.
Spiced.
It's delicious. It's so good.
All right.
Trying to feed the dwarves and answer the door, Bilbo would put on and take off his scarf. It's like... And he goes back and forth trying to feed them, putting on his scarf, taking it off and answering the door, and it gets faster, and it's like, it's actually not bad at all. It's like Chashki Ruby, you know? Just like down in Goblin Town and whip, crack. Goblin Town is a banger here too. It's just a shame they kind of look a bit KKK. King Arthur.
Are these supposed to be goblins now?
Yeah, they're the goblins, yeah.
Okay.
You know, there's translation of their singing, and it's like, whip them, chop them, bite them, nibble them.
Ooh.
I was
kinky.
Yeah. Bilbo talks about what his ma taught him, Belladonna. Oh, ciao Bella, you know. But actually, his ma's name is Belladonna Took.
Yeah.
She said, oh, hey, you get lakes in caves sometime, and that's why there's a lake in this cave. Okay. You ready for Gollum?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes.
Yes. At least he's wearing makeup and he's got a bit of gear on him.
He does. Yeah.
He's a bit nanu, isn't he?
But like, didn't Mork just have one of them? Like?
Yeah.
He's got about 4.
There you go. He's got a lot of fish hooks in the old head.
Yeah.
There.
Steve, can we have I am Gollum.
I am Gollum.
I love the way they all speak English just to introduce themselves.
Yeah. My precious.
Actually, here, yeah. So they use a lot of dialogue translated, including riddles in the dark. Oh, gee, Now I want you to say it in Russian.
Go on, give it to me.
He has to fucking do it, man.
Alive without bread, as cold as dead, never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, never clinking.
Hey!
That's not bad.
Lads, you answer that riddle. What is never thirsty, ever drinking? All in mail, never clinking. Okay.
Thirsty but not drinking.
Yeah.
In mail but not clinking.
Yeah. Think of it. Things that, obviously, it's stuff that would have to exist hundreds of years ago, because it's Middle Earth. So the wind or rope or, stuff that you would...
Not like an iPhone.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I have it.
Go on, Steve.
Is it a fish?
Yes!
There we
go. Always drinking, never thirsty.
Yeah. Covered in mail.
Scales. But not clinking.
It's all right.
Scales?
It's not. Well, it's not your best.
Yeah. Well, it's not me. That was.
I know, but you're the quiz master. But well done, Steve.
I think what helped Steve is that I was in character. I was Russian. It is fish.
He had the edge.
Yeah. While the dwarves are blaming each other for losing Bilbo, they start slagging him. He's like, he was a stupid burglar anyway. Hang on, did you just leave him to die? And they get scared by the rustling, and that's just Bilbo returning. And the dwarves run into a giant spider's web lair. So when they filmed this, it was 1984. We're in Russia. There's no budget. How are they going to do giant talking spiders?
I cannot wait.
Wiggle a rubber one and just have a silhouette of another.
That's not terrible.
That is, I expecting a bloke with arms and then tied with string to 6 other arms start doing this,
That's not bad, Jack.
The Jackson 5. Not bad at all, lads. And then Bilbo manages to get them out of it. Crisis averted, the dwarves pressure Bilbo to go in first to retrieve the Arkenstone. They come off quite cowardly and selfish, and the narrator somewhat softens the blow, but not really. And now the main event. How did they show Smaug? Bilbo is green screened into his lair with marionette Smaug. Oh my! One hand.
Yes.
Going blah blah blah. And the other,
bloody clever.
A sock puppet. A fucking
and the
sock
other one is
puppet.
just a hand glove of a dragon.
Yes.
That looks a lot better than I expected.
It was great. I marked out. I was annoyed because they keep the camera on Bilbo. I was like, I want to see Smaug. He's so great. Okay. And then Bilbo is just like, Smaug, is there anyone else who could own such a magnificent vest? And the arrogant and affable dragon shows him his belly welly, or the puppeteer just turns his arm, he pronates his arm around. And then Bilbo giddily muses to himself, haha, old fool, thickhead, he has a weak point, like a snail out of his shell.
«Неразумно смеяться над живым драконом», — сказал он себе. И эта фраза впоследствии стала его любимой поговоркой, а потом и известной пословицей.
Smaug goes to Lakedown. Big mistake for him. Bard shows up and potshots him in seconds. He's just like, oh, there's a dragon. Oh yeah, okay. Boom. Bang. And look, he's hit a puppet, so the size of the arrow here is a couple of 100 meters long.
Yes.
И бей, Бертка.
The dragon defeated, Bilbo takes the Arkenstone as his 1/14th share, giving it to the people of Laketown to rebuild their homes. Scroungy cheapo Thorin curses him and the wizard. I hope his beard doesn't grow. Apparently that's a big thing. And as it should be, barely a sniff of a boffa. And Thorin still has to have his deathbed babyface turn with the same speech as the books and PJ's film.
That's it.
Bilbo, having given up his share of the gold, accepts a small lockbox, presumably full of Terry's all gold. The end.
So, you've reviewed 3 of these now. Where does this rank in terms of the Basson rank, if you will?
Oh, hey! fuck, because they're all, you kind of, I don't know, what's the word, like Stockholm Syndrome them, and you quite enjoy them. I love the TNA Frederick Deitch 12-minute, get it done in a month, pay people to watch it, so it's say they bought tickets to make it a theatrical release. So that has a soft part of it. But this is great as well. I would recommend giving it a go.
Jesus, you're very kind.
But like, you got to take it as it is. Like the sock puppet.
I know, but you're
marionette.
You're actively recommending people to watch this.
Yeah, it's fun. Like when Smaug comes in,
how long
and
is it,
it's
Jay?
Clara. It's 1 hour 5, 1 hour 10.
Okay,
that kind of area. Overall, I'm glad to see other countries' interpretations of Tolkien, especially before Peter Jackson's vision was canonized. But I'm really glad that Jackson's vision, with New Lines, Hundreds of Millions, could fully realize the source material. Despite harsh time and budget constraints, it was an enjoyable children's stage play and a lovely bit of history. The music in this is quite good as well. It's actually still rattling around in my head. Obviously, it's regular blokes. What is that? And he's just come in off the street, but you can't critique it like it was a big budget film. They didn't have 300 million. By the way, Russia does have money for films like Moscow Does Not Believe in Tears. We live it. And TV shows like The Meeting Place Cannot Be Changed because it no longer exists. So this doesn't represent all of Russian TV, is what I'm saying. It's available on YouTube with hard-coded English subs, or on the official Russian Channel 5 with live dodgy auto-translate from Russian. So you can either have better subtitles or better video quality. Pick your poison. But the best bit about all of this, they also did Lord of the Rings. Hopefully for another day.
Бери, тут всего вдоволь. Не стесняйся.
How was it received? It brought in 962 million.
Failure.
It's amazing considering, I get the first one doing $1 billion. I mean, it's the follow-up to Lord of the Rings. But after the first one, not so great. The following two did nearly as big business. There's some dedicated fans, including myself and yourself.
I think it was maybe holding off the finish to Smaug being defeated. That was a huge reason to go see Battle of Five Armies. The budget was mixed with the other two, but Boffa in general cost between 200 and 300 million. Premiered in London the 1st December 2014. By the way, Warner Brothers are cheap fucks, like not flying out the New Zealand Hobbits to the London premiere. And so the internet gave out to them. And then the New Zealand Dwarves went to LA, and then the Europe Dwarves went to the UK premiere. Any Oscar buzz?
Any Oscar buzz?
One nomination, Best Sound Editing, didn't win. But it did win the Capri Hollywood Award for Best Breakout Actor for Ryan Gage. Alfred Lickspittle.
Yeah. Best Breakout. What's he been in since? Come on, Jay.
He was Hitler in Red Dwarf Season 12. He played the Camp Adolf.
I haven't even seen Red Dwarf Season 12, Jay.
One, it exists, and two, he's in it.
Okay.
Splicey.
It's because I'm Hitler, isn't it?
A couple of errant observations for you. One, just want to point out Thorin killing Azog does nothing for the war. The eagle saved the day. Fair enough, but that's irrespective of what Thorin was doing, and him killing Azog was his whole reason for doing it. The lads on the ground never found out that Azog and Bolg were defeated. And just seeing the Battle of Five Armies and the fugly CGI mess, and it takes an hour, and just Frodo shows up and says, I wish none of this had happened.
I wish none of this had happened.
Oh, just when at the end of Return of the King, when all the lads jump into bed together, and someone just say, my sword is yours.
But that's what we do at the end of every podcast anyway.
Yeah, slow motion.
And then Neo walks in and we all just grin at him.
Would the death of Smaug destroy Middle-earth's economy due to flooding the market with literal tons of gold and jewels?
It's an excellent point, but he's not flooding the market. He's keeping most of it, right?
But when the dwarves get...
Yeah,
Smaug
they're
is
going to
like-
be stupidly rich.
I would think, like, no, because the dwarves are very thrifty, very cunning, very shrewd, very crafty, very hoardy. So they'd probably just let discreet amounts of gold into the market, you know, keep the share, you know. Oh, did I mention it at all in the behind the scenes? Martin Freeman loves flipping off the camera at any chance he gets. He just... he managed to get one in the film itself. Is when he puts the ring on. You see, he's like... He puts it on with his middle finger extended.
Okay, very good. Very good. You got to keep yourself entertained on these sets.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just to mention, Hobbit 1, Elijah Wood, he's holding Smaug's claw in Bag End.
Oh, very cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Very cool.
Good gracious. Is it today?
They all say they're coming, except for the Sackville Bagginses.
Quick question, all right, just overall, how would you improve The Hobbit? Well, first one is don't let Guillermo del Toro drop out. Keep him on the hook for a couple of months and let him do his 2 films. And if you're not going to do that, give Peter Jackson his 1.5 years. Don't tell him you got to do it in 2 months. You know?
Yeah.
I think the main thing, you know, whenever you're talking to Peter, the main thing he shouldn't have had in his head is like, I'm competing with Lord of the Rings. I'm competing with myself. The Hobbit can't compete with Lord of the Rings.
That's what hurt it in the long run, if he had to let it be its own thing. And I don't know what percentage was that him, or like was that ego, or was that meddling from Suits? That you have to, if you make 3 movies, think of the DVD sales, you know? So,
Think of all the people we won't pay.
Like, the number one thing that could have made these movies better is just less.
Yep.
Yeah. And shout out M4 Studios. Final thought. To end the movie, the main event of the trilogy, the relationship between Bilbo and Thorin, the Hobbit and the Dwarf Lord, is actually a big win. It's just the trilogy gets bloated and off focus, but it gets there and it's good. It starts off frosty, I will not be responsible for this Hobbit. Remains strained, no thanks to your burglar. Rises, I should not have doubted you. I would have doubted me too. Strengthened through trust, if Thorin Oakenshield gives his word, then he will keep it. Cracks form, show me what is in your hand. To broken, throw him from the rampart, curse this hobbit and the wizard that thrust him upon me. To finally mended and galvanized, he was my friend. So what we've been doing with this entire kind of 3-part Hobbit trilogy deep dive is to tell you that there is good in this world and it's worth fighting for.
There's good in this middle world? No, it's Earth, isn't it? Bollocks. No.
Yeah.
Cut that.
Yay! Yeah, listen, there's good things in the Hobbit trilogy. You should give it a watch. And if you see any fan edits floating around, absolutely give them a watch. Yeah, let's take it home. So, V1, we are done and dusted with the Hobbit trilogy deep dive. How are you feeling, sir?
Honestly, not bad. I started off very negative. I greatly disliked the first Hobbit movie. I thought that was a bad movie. I quite like Smaug, and I did not hate this despite hearing only negative things about it. So I'd say, all in all, a mostly positive experience. I'm glad we did it, and I had fun. And they're some of our most fun reviews. Like, there's a lot in there between like cartoons and video games and the extras and just the general bants. You know what I mean? Yeah, love it, lads.
Oh, what do you think, OSE?
Happy we did it. You know, I've said everything I have to say about the matter,
I'm
but
sick of looking at you.
Yeah,
it's been an extended edition review.
I am complete. Fascinating to see what I'll pick at my next choice whenever that rolls around again. You know, that's 3 years done and dusted.
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Excellent. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. As you were saying there, V1, it's just the Hobbit 1 and 2, and hopefully this one you're watching, some of the most fun OSW reviews or deep dives that we've done. And so, yeah, it's nice because we're doing Lord of the Rings, but it's a version of it with lots of faults, so we can love it and hate it. So it's a nice dichotomy, and hopefully you get some nice entertainment and also some information, things that you didn't know. And overall, we're all 7 hours closer to death. So, and on that bombshell, if you want to keep this gravy train going, slip us a couple of bucks. Keep us flush in Snickers Duo, Star Bars, Boost Bars,
Twixes,
Reese's Peanut Butter Trees. Ooh. Wow. Some Coke and some Pepsi Max. You can slip us a couple of bucks at
nuggeru.oswreview.com.
And you can watch all of our episodes free of charge and an IMAX flavoured 4:3 full screen at
oswreview.com.
So it's a goodbye from V1.
Take a boo.
OC.
Boo-doo.
And myself, the 2.5-time Golden Nogger Award winner Jay Hunter. And remember, a winner is you.